Last we left off, we were trying to figure out if we're going to keep going and pushing this agenda that we're trying to push, or are we going to back out like some pansies and let these two play us like fools? Now, I am personally not going to stand for the slander, and I'm going to come after my own justification because I believe these two are playing in our faces, and I hate that because I know they're lying. They know they're lying. So we have a lot to just figure out. So I believe if you really want to understand what happened, so what happened was the coroner had just admitted that she is a part of it and that she did get suckered into helping. And Dr. Clockwork over there is just like, why did you confess? Like, what pushed you to confess? And she's like, anyway, I'm done with this. Just, just realize whatever, that I did have part in this and whatever. And yeah. But now we're trying to figure out if we're gonna keep pushing, or do we just, let it slide. Okay, hold on. I think we're gonna keep the trial going because clearly they want to settle this now. They want to just go with it, but I want to keep going.
Objection.
The defense objects to the trial ending at this time, my lord. I beg your pardon. We demand one final testimony. Because this is not over yet. I need to understand exactly what happened. And I don't know everything that happened. Don't look surprised. I need to know what's going on. Y'all are going to confess to me. You do realize I'm about to adjudicate in favor of your client, I presume. What are you playing at now, my Japanese friend? Why would you want to obstruct the conclusion of the trial at this point? No defense lawyer in his right mind would do that. I mean, you got a point, but this is not right. Like, we have the problem with this is that we haven't reached the conclusion that I want to aim for, like, because I still don't understand fully what happened. Mr. Naruhodo, what exactly are you thinking? The truth, the whole truth, and a way to bring it all out in the open. Yeah, because we're tying in two different emotions. I'm so sorry, everyone. Right. Yes, in hindsight. Yes, one word of warning before I go. If in any course of this trial this afternoon you perceive even a shadow of doubt about the truth, don't let it get out of your sight. Pursue it like a dog with a bone. Yeah, it was this. It's like, even if you feel like something isn't fully answered, get to the truth. Because even though we were gonna win, right? We're gonna win. There's no doubt in my mind we're gonna win. The problem with that is the fact that she have confessed to it, but he's still not backing down. He's still claiming he didn't do it. He isn't the one, like, he wasn't in charge of everything. He's like, I didn't do it, you can't prove that I did it, blah 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 blah. And that's all good and fine, but I want him to confess. I want him to, even if he's like, I'm never gonna own up to it, cool, I want to put it to the point where there's no way you can deny it. I'm sure Mr. Slums knew. He must have deduced that this would happen. You give him too much credit. Yes, I'm here in court to advocate for my client. And to ensure an acquittal. Obviously. But that's not all. I believe that I have a duty to this court. To pursue the whole truth of this case, until every last detail is laid bare. And that's why the defense calls for further testimony from Dr. Steve. 𝕤𝕒𝕤𝕤. Testimony from me? About what? About the nature of your collaboration with Mr. 𝕤𝕒𝕤𝕤. In case it escaped to your attention, I already admitted to everything I did. The whole truth has already been revealed. So stop wasting everyone's time. As his lordship's made very plain, your client will get the acquittal you wanted for him. There's simply no point protracting this business further with another tedious cross-examination.
Objection!
I does. Now she's kind of pretty. She's the enemy. Also, she's a coroner, like the people who deal with dead people, so that's probably why she looks like she's kind of dead. Pray forgive my careless handling of that hollowed bottle. I slipped. You slipped? It just faded into your hand. What is your objection, Lord Von Zieks? The prosecution... Okay, she's evil and kind of pretty. I pray for you. Also calls for supplementary testimony from the witness. Don't be stupid. If there is more to this case than yet that come to light, then I will join my learned friend in pursuing the facts into the bitter end. Okay, but he only wants to know because this is tied to his brother in a way, so I guess. Yo, what? Lord Von Zieks. If you're wondering why I don't call him Lord Von's daddy anymore, it's because it's not that I don't like him anymore. It's because, like, I'm trying. I haven't seen anything that will make me want to like him again. So, plus, you know, trying to be less of a simp for him. It'd be weird to be more of a simp for a racist person. I'm trying to correct my wrongs, okay? Fight with me. This is the most irregular, to say the least. However, as the prosecution also calls for it, I will uphold the request. Dr. Sleeth, you will testify to the court, explaining in full extent of your involvement in the murder apparently committed by Mr. 𝕤𝕤𝕤. Very well. Get on there, lady. I wonder what she's gonna say. Okay. It all began at the scene when I saw the waxwork and the note tucked inside its jacket. The actual body of the victim, as indicated in the note's instruction, was beneath the experiment stage. The body had been arranged in certain ways to implicate the defendant, which was my job. I enlisted the help of the entire forensic investigations team to dress the scene appropriately. The truth of the execution 10 years ago is a state secret of the highest level. I had to protect it. Cool. So I was right. The stage and the machine were all specifically designed for this deception. So it seems, and all meticulously prepared. You did well to see through it. You're a very shrewd boy. So kind of you to say. And what about the autopsy report then? All I did was record the location of the body as being in the Crystal Tower instead of under the stage. 1 second. Ooh, not released. That's all? That's a terrible... It's a terrible corruption. Only my team was aware of the deceit, and then only under my explicit instruction. Nobody else at Scotland Yard knew anything about it, I assure you. We must be thankful for small mercies, I suppose. Well, I believe the testimony has clarified everything. There's no particular need for cross-examination. There's no particular need for cross-examination, I would say. No, I disagree. I can't shake the feeling that something's wrong. Just look at that expression on Dr. Suit's face. It's the defense's right to cross-examine any witness following testimony. True. Oh, what is it about you Japanese that makes you all dodgy persistent? Maybe it's because you were smiling a few minutes ago and I'm like, dang, I feel like you lying. Oops. Very well, if you desire, counsel, proceed with the cross-examination. Oh, I shall. Alright, let's bring her out. Let's bring her out to dry. Alright, I don't care about this one. Don't care about this one. Don't care about... Oh, wait. Tell me more about that. When you say arranged, I presume you mean with this. Yes, the instructions in the engineer's note said something along the lines of fabricate some evidence to make it clear that Hairbrain alone could have killed Aspen. So you mean that was your doing? I fetched Hairbrain's ridiculous screwdriver from the stage and took it with me, alone, to the abyss under the stage where the birdcage had fallen. Alone, Doctor? I didn't feel it was appropriate to involve anybody else in the particular part of the deception. There was a void under a stage where I found the birdcage lying in the dirt. I approached it, leaned down, and slowly opened it up. Then, I took the screwdriver in both hands and plunged it into the man's chest. And then you noted that it was a fake in your fake autopsy report as a fictitious cause of death. Exactly. So the actual cause of death was the trauma resulting from the 30-foot drop. My word. What is it, Mrs. Soto? Something about Dr. Sleuth's last statement. It's playing on my mind, that's all. Yes, mine too. Dr. Sleuth, or Seath. There's really no need to shout. I can hear you perfectly well. The defense calls for you to add what you just said to your formal testimony. Oh, which part? What you did to the victim. Add to the fact that you actually did that. How you stabbed Mr. Asman in the chest. That part. Fine, if that's what you want. But there's really no need to point. Oh, we're both gonna point at you. The prosecution concurs. Very well. Well, if you wish, my lord. Alright, so now that leads us to now we're on statement 4. Which, 1 second. Ooh. Wait a minute. Ah, there it is. That's where she stabbed him. Yeah, this is where she stabbed him, but I'm going to present this.
Objection.
I've got a nasty feeling that this is an inconsistency points to an extremely uncomfortable truth. Ooh, we got new music, so I am definitely on the ball with this thought process. I love it when I figure things out. What on earth is the matter, Council? Have you lost your tongue? I apologize, my lord. Dr. Seath, in the last statement of yours, there's just one point that seems to defy explanation. Out with it, my learned friend. There's an obvious inconsistency between your description and this photograph, which shows the victim in the birdcage following the events that led to his death.
Objection!
What? You want me to get to it or not? The court has already examined the photograph in depth. There's nothing new we can learn from it. Oh, but au contraire. Yes, we've already considered it. That's true. But now we know the facts to be different. What do you mean? I believe we should let the defense explain. Alright. It is here. Can I do? Oh, I have to do this. Look closely at the blood on the victim's chest. It clearly indicates in a downward direction towards the man's feet. And why is that significant, Council? Watch. If the victim was stabbed moments before the kinesis machine was set in motion, that's entirely expected. Of course, no, that's not what happened. Exactly, my lord. Dr. Seath made it very clear to the testimony just now that the point at which she stole Professor Harebrain's screwdriver and stabbed the victim was after the grand deception was set in motion, when the birdcage had fallen below the stage out of sight. From the shape of it, it's clear that the birdcage would have fallen to the side after the 30-foot drop. And if the victim had really been stabbed while inside the birdcage in that position, the blood coming from the wood would spread out equally in all directions. For it have formed the longitudinal appearance we see in the picture is inconceivable. Ooh, she took a hit. Given that the victim's blood seeped vertically downward from the wound, it must be the case that when you stabbed Mr. Aspen, he was standing up. In short, Dr. Seath, your last testimony was a total fabrication. Yes. I knew it. I was right. So for anyone who didn't get it, she was like, she stabbed him while he was laying down. And he's like, there's no way that could have happened because the blood wasn't positioned in a way where all the blood could go all over the place if she had really stabbed him that way. From the looks of how the blood was spattered, or like how it came down, it looks like he was basically stabbed while standing. So she like he stood up and like immediately stabbed him, or whoever did, they stabbed him while he was like upright. We've all been under a great misapprehension here. What? What sort of apprehension? Misapprehension. Misapprehension. I'm word. Dr. Seath. You claim you were coerced into helping Dr. Drebber as a result of the note left in the waxwork. You claim that he made changes to the scene of the crime to implicate the defendant. And you claim that you were authorized a fake autopsy report to cover your tracks. But one of these claims is an out lie. Because the question of what the bloodstains really tells us has only one possible answer. And if that's the case, what is it, man? If you would let me get to it. Counsel, you're clearly shocked up and upon a revelation. Now tell the court what it is. Which part of Dr. Sleep's story is shown to be a lie by the little contradiction in her testimony, the stabbing of the victim? The answer is very simple if you consider the sequence of events. If, when the victim was stabbed, the blood from the wound seeped downward as it did, we can be sure that the victim must have been either sitting or standing upright at the time. But as you rightly pointed out, the birdcage would have fallen over to its thigh when it fell beneath the stage. Yes, it would, which tells us that the victim must have been in that position of his own accord.
Objection!
That's impossible. The man was dead, remember? No. That is the misapprehension. When the birdcage fell from the stage into the void below, it must have hit the ground with a considerable force. But Mr. Assman didn't die in the fall. He probably lost consciousness for a while, but when he came around, he got up to his feet to climb out the cage. Just as Dr. Seath appeared. If the victim was in fact alive at the point in time, it changes everything. You look so angry. Mr. Audie Osmond's killer wasn't the defendant, Professor 𝕤𝕒𝕤𝕤, nor was it the mastermind behind the stage trickery, Mr. 𝕤𝕒𝕤𝕤. It was you, Dr. Courtney Seath. Now, why you would kill him, I don't know, but you did. Order, can this possibly be true? Have you been taking me for a fool? It was you who, was it? You killed him? You hoped that by admitting to being an accomplice in Dr. Drebber's scheme, the trial would end, before you were accused of far worse crime. Cold-blooded murder. Oh, do shut up. You're so desperate now, you're making all this up as if I would do something like that.
Objection!
I assure you, the defense is not desperate, Doctor. Mr. Naruhodo has established the facts using evidence and logic alone. Logic? Don't make me laugh. Sadly, your logic has a gaping hole in it. What do you mean? I thought it would be obvious. A motive, boy. You're lacking a motive. What possible reason would I have to kill Mr. Assman? Mr. Assman was involved in a number of criminal activities, from concierge to theft to murder. But there is no known connection to Dr. Seath there. I'd rather relieved to say it does seem somewhat far-fetched. True. There's no obvious motive. But there's still something in the back of my mind. It feels I've seen something somewhere that hints that why the coroner might have done this. Yes, I might have tampered with the crime scene and concorded a fake report, but murdering someone for no reason is a very different story.
Objection!
No. When you question what possible reason you could have had for wanting to kill Mr. Aspen, something did come to mind. What? What was it, counsel? Enlighten the court at once. Yes, we saw it yesterday, didn't we? Something that seemed strange, but we had no reason to speculate at the time. Suspect at the time. Oh, right, this. It was a scalpel, or rather, scalpels. Did you say scalpels? It would appear I've struck the chord, Doctor. Come on, out with it. It was yesterday when we visited your laboratory. Look at the big, thick book here. Oh yeah, this is when he... Oh, right, this is when he was like calling people to like this giant order of scalpels. It's like, why do we have this giant order of scalpels? And we thought, oh, it's because like she uses them a lot because of her work. $500 scalpels a month? At first, I wondered what on earth would you be using that many scalpels for? But actually, I realized that it was not the scalpels themselves that are significant. It was the money for them, disappearing every month from the department's accounts. Aspen's criminal organization relied heavily on extortion for its funding. Tracing the money from the forensics investigations team account to find out where it was going would be extremely straightforward. "10 years ago, when Mr. Aspen was still a journalist and wrote the article about Mr. 𝕤𝕒𝕤𝕤, he may well have stumbled upon information as he was researching the story. Information relating to Dr. C's dark secret that he would use to rack money from her for the next decade." Her darkest secret? Good lord, you mean... I don't know what happened on the night of that execution 10 years ago. But clearly, the opportunity to rid yourself of that menace was too tempting to pass up. So in the end, you weren't coerced at all, were you? You did it entirely of your own free will. You stabbed Mr. Aspen in the heart with all your might. To silence the blackmailer who knew your dark secret forever. You'll never understand. None of you. Oh, we'd have to keep covered up all these long years. As very little of the machine remains after it was ripped apart by the bomb. The truth of this case could never be properly established unless you speak out. And if you decide not to, it's very possible that Courtney Seath will escape punishment for her crimes. Please, sir, own up to what you've done and tell the truth about what happened. 10 years ago, you told the truth, and you were robbed of the bright and successful future as a result. I can certainly understand your bitterness and your consideration now. However, this is surely the chance you've been waiting for to sever the hold that fate has over you all these years. Super high voltage instantaneous kinesis. I mean, really. It's the idle-brained muck scientists that are the worst, you know. They don't recognize the fact that they don't have talent. They can't even get that right. And so they end up chasing impossible dreams, having unbridled faith in their ability. They go on and on about their wonderful hypothesis, their stupid eyes shining like little child's. They make me sick. I can't abide their foolishness. Careful, Mr. Jabber. I was particularly pleased with the kinesis machine. It made for quite a show, didn't it? So you admit it. You admit that it was nothing more than a sham made for the purpose of killing the victim. Yes, I admit it. I did it all in the name of revenge. Revenge for the future that Mr. Asmon's article had deprived you of 10 years earlier? But the revenge you sought didn't stop Asmon at all, did it? Which is where the very particular waxwork came in. Yes, I see. The condemned convict that you saw rising from the grave in Lowgate Cemetery 10 years ago. If your account of those events were all true, then obviously Scotland Yard couldn't afford to acknowledge what had happened. Even if it meant discrediting a bright young man and crushing any future he might have had. Your plan required that you abduct that particular waxwork model in order to exact your revenge on Scotland Yard as well, or on Dr. Seif to be precise. It was a year ago. By some extraordinary twist of fate, Asmon turned up at my workshop. He didn't remember who I was, of course. He just wanted to employ my services as an engineer. And he happened to have paper with him. An article for the front page caught my eye about the coroner who handled that bogus autopsy being appointed head of the new forensics team. When I learned that news, my cognitive processes started to devise the plan. What a horrid tale. He robbed me of my future, so I wanted to use the man's own wills against him for revenge. And have that rotten Scotland Yard eating out of my hand at the same time. I wanted them all to suffer the same humiliation I had to suffer. Your actions against those who ruined your future were justified as revenge, at least to yourself. Certainly, no one has the right to destroy another person's perspective, especially for purely selfish gain. And yet, in carrying out your plan, you did exactly that to someone else, didn't you? Did I? Professor Harebrain's only crime was passion for his hypothesis. But you had to you had no compunction about sacrificing his future to effect your revenge. You knew that he would be forever branded a failure and a fraud. Perhaps life treated you unfairly 10 years ago, and others' misconduct left your life in tatters. But remember this. Your own actions resulted in exactly the same thing for another perfectly innocent young man. I... Basically, yeah, I am winning. Lord Von Zeeks, what of Dr. Seath? An immediate warrant for her arrest has been granted and she'll be remanded to custody, my lord. I presume she will face trial in the coming days along with Mr. Drebber. A most regrettable situation indeed. She made great contributions to her profession over the years. It's really hard truth to swallow. However, that is a topic for some future occasion. For now, Professor Harebrained? Yes. It seems that there was a great deal of your experiment that you realize. However, I think we can assume now that all the shrewd details that have been brought to light. This has been a very long and profound trial that I am pleased to say you are absolved of all guilt. Absolved of all guilt. This whole experiment has taught me a very great but painful lesson. Me, this dedicated science, this devotee of natural philosophy. I have been selfish and self-centered, and above all, a fool. Professor. I spent my life thinking of nothing but my research, misguidedly believing that I could do whatever I set my mind to, despite my lack of talent. And the worst of it all is in the process I've caused others pain and misery. Others who are far, far greater people than I. No, Professor, that's not true. What? Don't tar yourself with the same brush as Drebber. What happened was his doing and his alone. This outcome is his fate, not yours. You're not to blame in any way. Lord Von Zeeks. And in the duration with which he referred to you earlier, calling you a fool, talentless even. The man has no idea. To believe in yourself and work your fingers to the bone to realize your dreams, that's laudable, not laughable. His apprentice is who's next to him. No one has the right to deride anyone for such choices. Oh. Thank you, Barak. So, ladies and gentlemen of the jury. Yes, my lord. It is the court's expectation that you find the defendant not guilty of the charge of which he stands accused. I presume that you have no objections? None from me, my lord? Certainly not. This trial has been made me think, but this is the right decision. It's all been proven methodically and rigorously. I have no misgivings whatsoever. What's that? It's all over? I don't know what's become of the yard these days. I don't recognize this place. Very well. In that case, I hereby pronounce the defendant. Yay! That was long. That was really long. Court is adjourned. Woo! I still want to see the professor, like, face. I want to see it. I want to break the the cage so I can see it. Ah. Professor, what a splendid outcome, isn't it? Oh, it is! It is! Congratulations, Professor Hairbrain! Mr. Naruhodo, Mrs. Sato, I am truly beside myself with gratitude. How could I ever thank you enough? I'm glad if it's all been cleared up, that you realize you were just caught up in a bad situation. Right now, you know, if I had that research grant money, I give you a whole lot to you, every penny. Well, that's very kind, but I'm just a student, so we don't need any financial reward. Your critical is more than enough. You say that, but like, we really out here broke, so I would take the money. Oh dear. What can I do? Aha! What about this? As a memento, this paper about my hypothesis is inside. Well, this is a memento then. Thank you. I've been wondering, Professor, what are you going to do now? Oh my, yes. What am I going to do? My hypothesis and my great machine lie in ruins. But still, it's been too long since I was last in London, so perhaps I'll enjoy some sightseeing. I must explore the great exhibition while I'm here, too, to see if it's new inspiration hits me. He has no money to give us anyway. I can't allow that. Oh, hello. Hey, what's up? What are you doing in here? Rock. I'm sorry you had to go through that, Albert. Well, if I'm honest, it was terrifying. You were like the great demon beyond your bench there, snarling down on your parade. You're one of the few friends, true friends I have. I couldn't leave it to anyone else to handle the prosecution. Or the defense. Sorry? I always knew you had my best interests at heart. Don't worry. How about you show me around while I'm here in town? It's been a long time since we've left the university. We have a lot to catch up on. Oh, look at him being friendly in a way. Listen, Albert. In a few days, your critical will be made official. When that happens, you must head straight to Dover. I'll accompany you. What? From there, you'll cross the channel and make your way back to Germany. I've already purchased the tickets. But no! Hold on a minute, 𝕒𝕒𝕒. What about the Great Expedition? This is a chance of a lifetime for me. I want to look around. No sightseeing, Albert. Give up on the idea. Ugh. Sometimes it's hard to see any warmth in those eyes, 𝕒𝕒𝕒. Why can't he? What's all this about? Necessary precaution. Yes, I think I understand. You do? Well, Iris told me that when you met Lord von Zieks at his office some days ago, he asked how Mr. Natsume was doing. Yes, that's right. I remember being surprised at that time and thinking it was nice of him to ask. The point is, Mr. Natsume is still alive and well. Even though it's been more than 6 months now since his stood trial with the Reaper as the prosecutor. Oh, you mean the Reaper's influence doesn't stretch overseas? Those in the Reaper's sights might meet their end days or sometimes months after the acquittal. That's been the pattern up till now. But of course, we know that both Mr. Natsume and Gina were completely innocent. True, and perhaps that governs the Reaper's actions. The truly innocent are spared. but I don't want to take any chances with a close personal friend. Barack? In a way, it's kind of sweet because he's like, I don't want him to die. Like, I want him to be okay. Like the mustache 𝕒𝕒𝕤𝕒. This man should leave the country without delay. That's why I'm packing him off to Germany at once. Right. Does your friend-shaped package get any say in this? Goodness. Was that your intent all along, then? I get it, because he's like, I really don't want him to die, so I'm gonna send him away as soon as possible. But, like, Gina's still, like, okay, Gina was guilty and still lives in London, so I don't understand why she's alive then. I'm trying to figure out if people, like, are being killed and then, like, they're trying to frame him for it. It's time to go, Albert. Back to the prison for the time being. Yes, alright. Well then, Mr. Naruhodo. Thank you for everything. Not at all, Professor. It was a pleasure getting to know you. Best wishes, Professor Hairbrain. Well, once the dust is settled, you must come and visit me in Germany. Anyway, goodbye for now. Now, my 𝕒𝕒𝕤𝕒 friend. Oh, yes? We have matters to discuss. Can you spare some time? Oh, you want to talk to me personally? Yeah, what's up? I'll be waiting in the courtroom in 10 minutes. Yeah, right. I wonder what this is going to be about. The enigma, Barak von Zeeks. What does he want to discuss? Is he going to confess to me? Because, like, it'd be weird to have a confession after this whole trial. You know, I understand your love for me is probably really deep, but, like, wait a little longer, please. Oh, why are we on the same, or on different sides? So, are you satisfied? You say the guiltless scientist from a great injustice. Yeah, I'd say I'm good. I'm relieved at least that the man's innocence could be proven. Anyway, I imagine you'd be wondering where my animosity towards you Japanese came from. Well, at first I thought it was just you didn't like me, and that you were just like super racist. But like, you know, given the time period, that makes more sense. But yeah, tell me what happened? I imagine you saw me as a pretentious child from an unimportant land who had no business being here. Also, okay, so xenophobia. But now I think differently. He's like, no, you're right to think that. You clearly know our ways. So I would guess that some specific incident led to you to dislike. So I would guess that some specific incident led to your thorough dislike of my race. Will you tell me what happened, please? The professor. I thought I'd never hear that name in this courtroom again, to be honest. He took your brother's life. Clint. My brother was Clint von Zeeks. 16 years ago, when I was still just in my teens. How old are you again? He was already the director of prosecutions and a key member of the judiciary. So I looked up to him. He was everything I aspired to be. He was involved in the establishment of justice systems in foreign countries as well. There were exchange programs between Britain and other nations then too, to share knowledge and ideas. As a part of one of those programs, 3 judicial students came to Britain from your homeland, the Empire of Japan. Oh, if it was 16 years ago, then one of them could have been my father. Of course. I remember Dr. 𝕤𝕒𝕐𝕦𝕒 well. I had no idea. I was a minor at the time, training at the prosecutor's office. One day, Clint introduced me to 3 visiting Japanese. So, you actually met my father? He and his colleagues were polite and amicable. They were adept in their work and exacting in their standards. It was my first encounter with the Japanese spirit, and it made me great impression upon me. But 6 years later, that's when it happened. The investigation was going nowhere. There was no suspects even, just an ever-growing list of victims. And in the end, my brother became one of them. The last, in fact, before the case was finally resolved. I'm so sorry, Lord 𝕤𝕒𝕤𝕤. Truly. Clint was always ready to put his life on the line for justice anyway. So he would have wanted it in any other way. He lost his life to the killer, but in his victory in the end. For me personally, though, it was a great loss. Found myself in a very dark place indeed. And it seems like you haven't found your way out, like, at all. When I finally found out that, like, I'm like messing up a lot, I'm sorry. When I finally found out the killer's identity, the reason why no one has been able to catch the man sooner ceased to be such a mystery. He had been hiding in plain sight all the time. What? Who? In plain sight? Are you aware of the political events 10 years ago? It was a period of extreme sensitivity. Oh my god, what is with my mouth? It was a period of extremely sensitive diplomacy between the British and the Japanese empires. A new treaty was being forged, I think. Correct. The Anglo-Japanese Treaty of Friendship and Navigation was being concluded. The leaders of both countries were deep in extensive political discussions, which is why the particular killer's appearance in court was conducted as a closed trial. If the British public had known the identity of the killer, not only would the treaty would have been in jeopardy, but the other 2 nations could have very well ended up at war. What? A war between Britain and Japan? But that would mean... Oh my, you mean to say that the professor was... He was Japanese!
When the trial reached its conclusion earlier, I thought to myself, yes, it's time. Time for you to come face to face with this hideous monster.
Ooh, I love this. I love when they put voice acting this way.
I borrowed the key for the mask from the proprietress of the Waxwork Museum. So see for yourselves now. Confirm it with your own eyes. The truth that's been hidden this past decade.
Oh no, this is so exciting. I'm like eating mental popcorn in my head. Like, bro, they really about to reveal this killer. Oh my god. Okay, here we go. Oh my god. Here we go, here we go.
That's the professor?
Yes, that's him.
Until now, the thought never even crossed my mind. That the mass murderer, whose crimes shook Britain as never before, was Japanese.
Wait a minute. That face. I feel as though I've seen it somewhere. It's strangely familiar.
What?
Father.
What? What?
What? Father?
I mean, I knew it was him. I mean, I
My
knew it was
best son,
him.
Kazuma Asogi. After a whole year, finally his memories returned.
Oh, he looks so good in white. Ugh.
As he stood there before me. Ryunosuke. Hello again. My friend.
Kazuma-sama!
Why are you act? I never understood why she's acting like she is like so in love. Like, relax. This is not about you.
Judicial Assistant Mikotoba. It's been a very long road. Thank you. Thank you for guiding my friend here when I could not.
It was an honor.
She is so in love, and I'm like, why? So acting like you, and like there's no history. But, like they have
You wouldn't
history.
die that easily. Kazuma.
They're clearly best friends. Like, what is she all up on him for?
I owe you thanks too.
Oh, he's so
For
handsome
taking
and white.
good care of that in my absence.
Oh. Karuma, the great blade of the Asogi clan, passed down through the generations.
Dang, does he even give it back?
When we left Japan, this sword was at my friend's side. A Japanese man's katana is his soul, and he couldn't be parted from it. But then, when the incident happened... it
Oh,
also
no
set
wonder
us on
his
to wish
forehead looks
that
weird.
I inherit the sword,
Because his like headband is off.
and I've kept it with me ever since, along with my.
I was like, why does her
memories of the
forehead look
friendship we shared.
weird?
With this by my side, I always felt that you were watching over me somehow.
I've made it. At last. Father.
Getting some Five Nights at Freddy vibes here, but all right.
Are you saying... Surely not. You mean, you knew all this time? I'm looking at it, but I still can't believe it.
Me either.
This mass murderer is Kazuma's father.
We can't choose our parents, unfortunately. Something about the backs of a guy is so handsome. Ugh. Don't do it. He's not real. Nice. Clean cut.
Kazuma-sama.
Ryunosuke. We have much to talk about, but now is not the time. I'll be seeing you.
Okay. Extra as ever.
That's all Kazuma said. Before he turned and left us there, in the courtroom.
Well, this was a lot. Great, I have to read again. So, he's living the after image of the man who took my brother's life, is he? Yes, Kazuma Asogi, my best friend. 3 months ago, when Lord Strongheart introduced us, I had an inkling there was something there. Some connection. Why did Lord Strongheart do that? Why did he make Kazuma Lord von Zeke's apprentice? And why was he suffering amnesia too? The man was apprehended, even executed, but his legacy just won't die. That's the sad truth. Anyway, that's all I had to say. I thank you for meeting with me as I asked. Are we gonna put the wax machine back together? Because I think she's gonna be really mad if we don't put it back together. He just cut it. Like, I mean, we can't just deface property that's not ours. No? No, the discussion? 10 years ago, my grandmother took me to the railway station. We were there to meet my father from the train. For me. It was the first time I'd ever seen him. Alright, even though she's like under her dad, like she's hardly been around him. Like, he was gone for a long time. It took me time to adjust to having father around. But just when I was starting to get used to it, he called me into his study one day. He told me that a great friend of his had passed away in London, and that his friend had left behind a son, a boy 7 years old, my senior. Father told me that that boy had made a promise to his late father, but he was studying to become a defense lawyer. I wanted to help, so I studied to become a qualified judicial assistant. Why? You didn't know him. As I'm sure you worked out, that the young man's name was Kazuma Asogi. So you see, that's how he and I met. Again, not understanding why you're so devoted to this person, but
For a
okay.
brief moment, my great friend had returned, only to disappear again all too soon. But in that fleeting encounter, something stirred. Something that had been dormant for a long time.
Your gay feelings for him?
As if great wheels had been set in motion. I could almost hear them creaking into life.
This is your lover? You are now in love? Like, is this is your awakening? Is this you coming out of the closet?
In some ways, it was the end of a chapter. But in many, it was the start of a new one.
He didn't say the last line, but okay. The demasking. Just in time for Pride Month. You're right, right? Over here, like, we out here just setting in motion. Just in Pride. Hello, who? Well, we're on to the fourth case. Ooh, I like that one. Look at that. Ooh, look at that. I like the, ooh, it's so dark. It's so mysterious. Um, thought I was playing in order. Hold on. I guess so. Twisted Karma and his last bow.
Pipe in hand, Sholmes looked down at the thick, rolling fog outside our window. I wonder exactly how many mysteries are out there, hidden within this bed of fog, he said. Indeed, a most bizarre incident, born of a curious advertisement. A hellhound's mad gallop through the shadows of a serial murder, an executed man's graveyard resurrection in the dead of night. And a commonplace killing in a small, forgotten room at the edge of town. There is, naturally, always another side to every case, of which most remain ignorant. And it is that other side which compels me to the scene of the crime, Wilson. So quickly now, take your hat and let's be on our way, my dear fellow. For our adventure is not over yet. Come, the game is afoot.
Are we finally gonna address the hound thing? Alright, who's gonna die today? 8 days after the earth-shattering trial and Kazuma's regaining his memory, we were in the foyer of one of London's most luxurious hotels, the Great Waterloo Hotel. Hold on, I want to make sure that's real. Part of me is like, is that real? The Great Waterloo Hotel. It is. It is a real place. It is a real place. Huh. That's interesting. That's kind of cool. Professor 𝕒𝕠𝕦𝕒 is due to arrive in any moment. Yes, I'm glad we got here in time. Chisoto-san hasn't been the same since what happened. Not that I'm surprised. The truth about Kazuma-sama's father. Do you suppose my father knew? Of course he knew. What are you, crazy? Of course he knew that his friend was a killer. That he was actually the mass murderer, the professor, you mean? There's a good chance, I'd say. I mean, they did come here to London together 16 years ago, didn't they? Yes, that's true. Come to think of it, didn't you say that the Professor 𝕒𝕠𝕦𝕒 knew about Kazuma going missing in Hong Kong as well? That's right, but for some reason he hadn't been at liberty to talk to me about it. That probably means he knows then. Well, Kazuma showing up here in London with amnesia and his regained his memory now. Ah, there she is. Oh my god. I'm not expecting to be in suits, but okay. It's kind of interesting to see them in like suit appeal, but Father. Hello, Chisoto. How are you? They do got drip. They came in with like these strong arms, just like masculinity at rip, just like huh. I'm well. Very well, thank you. We're delighted you have arrived safe and sound. The judge looks like he could be like a part of this time period with the way that his beard is. It's like, I didn't realize they were in sections. Hello, Mr. Naruhodo. Very kind of you to take the trouble to meet us. Oh, Oh, yeah, no, no, it's my pleasure. We've heard all about your extraordinary exploits in London, you know. The news has crossed the seas. It has? I've always looked forward to reading the monthly reports that arrive with steamships from Britain. I see. Well, thank you very much. Who is this man? I take it from your expression you can't quite place me. In the case, how about a little reminder? Say Shiro. Say Shiro. A firm tap should do. Yes. A firm tap? What? Here we go then. I here proud pronounce the defendant, 𝕤𝕤𝕤𝕤, guilty. Oh, you're... Why do you have that with you? Your Excellency! Hello, Judge Jikoku. How are you? It's been a long time. Good, you remember now. It really did the trick. Guilty! Only I was declared not guilty, wasn't I? So, London again after all this time. Hard to believe it's been 10 years. To be honest, I never thought I'd be back. Neither did I. I didn't imagine Japan would be invited to an international symposium like this. Doesn't Jikoku mean hell or something? Let's look it up. Now, you know I know nothing of Japanese, so I'm gonna go to Deep Bell. I'm gonna type in Jigoku. It's not English. It is Japanese. I'm gonna translate that to English. Hold on. That didn't help. Goku meaning. Yeah, it literally means hell. It's a Jikoku in Japanese Buddhism, hell, a region popularly believed to be composed of a number of hot and cold regions located under the earth. His name means hell. That's kind of funny. Though, really, I doubt anyone did, to be honest. It's all thanks to you, isn't it, Seishiro? What does Seishiro mean? Because if his name is a giant pun, like they're all in their names are. So his name breaks down to, So it's like sincerity, warrior. Sincerity warrior son. The son of sincerity warrior of hell. Son of hell, basically. It's all thanks to you. What are you talking about, Eugene? So it was him, and Mr. Asogi. Got it. Well, all those passport checks and luggage searches at the border took rather a lot of time. I must say I'm very envious of your ministerial status. You didn't have to go through any of that, did you? I knew you were jealous. Sorry? Ministerial status? Yes. Didn't you know? Shinshiro here is also Japan's Minister of Foreign Affairs. It's his personal insistence that allowed you to take Kazuma's place here study tour. Guilty as charged. Oh, well, thank you very much. Yes, now, Naruto, I received a telegram from Lord Strongheart yesterday. Oh, you did? It appears that some things came to light in the trial you were involved with 8 days ago. About what happened 10 years ago. That tragedy. Yes. Could you tell us anything more about it? Time to talk to the older men and find out what they know. Because they're gonna be dealing with a lot. Oops. Alright, so your journey from Japan, how was it? Well, you say travels, I suppose. So how was your voyage here? Oh, well, 50 days at sea is a long time by anyone's standard. 50 days! I would have lost it. But it hasn't been as bad as when we came 16 years ago. No, that's true. Then I truly wonder if we wouldn't be drifting in the vast ocean for the rest of our lives. This time we followed the same route as you. You were able to relax and enjoy the experience. We were able to relax. Ah, so you stopped in France's beautiful capital, Paris. We did, yes. Though only for one night. And yesterday evening we left the port of Dunkirk for Dover. Just in time for this symposium, in fact. It starts tomorrow. It's wonderful that you were invited to attend such an important international event. I'm very proud of you, Father. It's thanks to Shichiro here. 16 years ago, he managed to integrate himself with British Attorneys General. I'm sure that's why he was invited. And I suppose you could say I'm something of a appendage by default. Speak for yourself, Fusion. You were close friends with the professor of forensic science at the major hospital. Yes, well, I'd rather not dread up all that, really. No, there's been a lot of water under the bridge since then, but it doesn't bring him back. Well, since you're bringing up Kasuma's father, the professor, the killer who took the lives of 5 members of the British atrocities. Well, Aristocracies was actually Kasuma's father, wasn't he? That's correct. Genshin? Really? Really? Out of all names, we're naming him Genshin? Somehow I knew that Genshin in all forms was evil, no matter what front it took. That's correct. Genshin Asogi. Genshin. You knew, I presume, Father? Yes. He was a close friend at the time. Genshin came to Britain as a police detective. He was studying investigation techniques at Scotland Yard. Don't, Shin, I will ban you. I've never understood what drove that man to commit such heinous acts. It was a close trial, so the public never knew the truth, and he was executed with little ado. To this day, very few people knew what really happened, even in our homeland. What about Kasuma? Did he know? Did he know the truth about his father? No, of course not. He was told his father passed away from sickness. However, I suspect that he may have had his doubts. Oh, why? As you know, I tried to guide Kasuma growing up as if he were my own son. Then one day he came to my office at the university and said, I decided I want to travel to Great Britain and study there. Do you think he wanted to come here to investigate his father's death? I don't know. But when I looked into his eyes, I did know that there was no way I would be able to stop him. Something else came to light in the other day, actually. Oh? What? Well, having disappeared in Hong Kong and been missing for almost a year. Kasuma's since turned here in London, working as the apprentice of Lord Von Zooks. What? What? That's news to us. Ah, so you didn't know. Okay, well, that answers my question. The Lord Stronghearts didn't tell you that, huh? Well, funny story. As you know, we both thought Kazuma had died in the steamship during our voyage to Great Britain in January. But he didn't die. He's alive. As you knew, didn't you, Father? In actual fact, no. What I did know is that when your ship docked in Hong Kong, he mysteriously vanished. We sent a team of investigators to Hong Kong to try to ascertain what had happened, but to no avail. But he's still alive? And in London, you say? Yeah. I never dared to even dream it. Why on earth did the young man not make contact? The government and the police have been chasing clues fruitlessly for months now. Well, it seemed he was suffering from amnesia. What? Amnesia? When we first came here to London, he didn't even know who neither of us were. I see. He only regained his memory 8 days ago. This is unbelievable. You're telling me? Yes, it's quite miraculous. I wonder why Lord Strongheart didn't let us know. Me too. I'm wondering why everyone's being so mysterious about all this stuff, because this is starting to become absolutely interesting. I must speak with him urgently. I mean, he's probably doing fine. I mean, Kasuma's, doing great. Would it be wrong for us to go visit him? Really? We're gonna go see him? I would love to be honest. I'm not even gonna hold you. I would love to. Let's talk about your time in Britain. That began 16 years ago. It was a distant memory, really. It was Eugene here. It was Eugene, Genshin Ugsogi, and myself. We were the original three. The first judicial scholars from Japan to travel overseas to study. Ocean voyages were not as they were today, I can tell you. Your father was an exceptionally fine medical student at the Yume University at the time. You know, young lady. Yes, grandmother told me. He went to do research at a great London hospital to study autopsy, practically unheard of in Japan. Yes, it was an eerie place, sandwiched between the back of a prison and a burial. No more talking graves. Very often, no one willingly to deal with bodies following autopsy work. So you see, autopsy labs have something unavoidable relationships with graveyards and prisons. I bet. Not my cup of tea at all. Do you remember Scottish prison governor, Hayden? Hayden? His name was. He was a good man. Yes, but then of course in our 6th year here, everything changed with that dreadful case. Even when Genshin was arrested for a series of the most gruesome murders. simply couldn't believe it. I'd known that man for years. I was a witness of the secret hearing and tried to speak in his defense, but you went a little too far and ended up facing charges yourself, didn't you? Well, suffice to say that after the trial, we were sent back to Japan. There was nothing more we could do to save Genshin. He was a lost cause, sadly. I mean, did he not confess to why he wanted to kill all these people? He just decided, yeah, alright, well, you know, decided I wanted to murder people today. Well, if you'd excuse us now. Yes, I'd like to get this trunk up to my room as soon as possible. Oh, I'm so sorry. We shouldn't have held you up for here for so long. I'll call you the porter then. Just wait here. Isara's gone. Off at a run. I'd like to stay and talk more, but I have various preparations to make for tomorrow. Me too. Yes, of course. It must be a big responsibility representing our entire country. I wish you the best of luck. Naruhodo, I hope you'll keep an eye on 𝕤𝕤 for me. Keep looking after her as you obviously have. Oh no, I mean, if anyone's looking after anyone, it's her looking after me. Well, I do appreciate you being there for her, after all. I've been a miserable father to her. And thoroughly let her down. I mean, most, you know, men in this era are terrible to their families in general, so you're fine. Sorry? What do you mean? Well, it was 16 years ago that I started my long study tour here in Britain, as you know. The very year 𝕤𝕤 was born. Dang, you left as soon as the woman gave birth? That is ridiculous. Yes, I've heard. The birth of my daughter was the most joyous event of my life, but I wasn't there to see it. Well, sadly, it was accompanied by the most tragic event of my life, too. Oh, yes, 𝕤𝕤 hinted at something like that. It was rather turbulent time at home. The baby was born and he was like, dang, I'm off to London. My point is, I became rather less dependable than that befits a grown man. And it was then that Shishiro offered me the opportunity to study here in Great Britain. So you just left. You just had a baby. Literally, she just had a baby and you upped in the night. So perhaps I've been a little heavy-handed when it comes to pursuing you to accompany me to London. Okay, but like, that's all well and all, you know, for your career or whatever, wonderful. You just up and left your wife after she gave birth to her poor baby for the first time? You just was like, I gotta go, I gotta be out, I gotta skedaddle, I gotta get out of here. Like, sir, you left your wife alone after having a baby. Like, I get the whole pursuit of, like, your career, but, like, baby. Anyway, so that's what happened in a nutshell. And also the reason why I feel compelled to give my daughter as many opportunities as I dare. The world does not readily afford young women such things, I must say. I completely understand, Professor. I too also left my child in Japan. One more thing, Naruhodo. If I may be so bold, I have a favor to ask you. I'm not marrying her. I'm clearly gay. Of course. What can I do for you? Well, the thing is, I'm so sorry that took so long. I recognize that man. Mr. Soto. Now then, allow us to take up your bags. Allow me to take up your bags. One moment, if you please, porter. Of course, sir. That machine around your neck. It's a camera, I believe. Quite right, sir. Just 5 shillings for a lovely photograph of the 𝕤𝕒𝕤𝕤 and a wonderful stay at the hotel, sir. Well, I think given the occasion, we could justify the suspense. Oh, yes, of course. Okay, so they were already in suits, and then they were in formal gear. That's kind of funny. I'd like to thank you for coming with me, 𝕤𝕤𝕤. It's really made my father very happy, I think. Oh, well, please then. We were interrupted before. I swear to God, if he was just like, can you marry my daughter? Because, like, I clearly can't watch over her. And I've been like, no. I'm in love with a man. Shall I return to Baker Street then? I expect Iris has some delicious tea waiting for us. Yes, let's go. Perhaps I'll try meeting Lord Strongheart later. I guess we're off to meet Iris, so alrighty, off we go. Oh wait, actually no, I want to see him now. I kind of want to see if we can see him now, because I want to know why he didn't say something. Oh, they're having a conversation. Oh, it's November! I love November. Here's the final draft of the opening address for tomorrow's proceedings. I've supplemented your original with the figures you've asked for the yard. I see. Excellent work. Thank you. You're welcome, my lord. Why are they standing like that? That's such a weird way to stand. Why? There seems to be an awful lot of tension in the air, wouldn't you say? I mean, someone lied. Hey! My apologies, I didn't notice you come in. Your small stature and dark dress make you all but invisible to me. Oh, great. Nice to know that I don't really make that much of an appearance. Oh, no. It's entirely my fault for wearing black, I'm sure. From now on, you must dress in white from head to toe whenever you come here. Now then, Miss Naruto? Yes, my lord. I'm right here. I see that. He's like, what do you want? Is something wrong? Perhaps a little too hot in here for you? No, not at all. I mean, I've never expected the room to be at such perfect temperature. If you're sure, and beads of sweats are carving from your head down your face seem to suggest otherwise. I'm just nervous. You know, when you're around attractive men, it does that to you. As you're no doubt aware, my intentional forensic science symposium begins tomorrow. In fact, your father arrived in London earlier today, I hear now. Oh, yes, that's right, my lord. He's extremely honored to be invited. I'll leave the remaining preparations for the meeting room in your capable hands then. I will attend to it at once. He gave you a very cold stare as he left, didn't he? I know, but I haven't done anything, have I? These past few days, my feet have been barely touched the ground, I must say. My dedicated right hand of many years was recently pulled out of action in this particular fashion. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Is your left hand still of service? Mr. Naruhodo, he's talking about Dr. Seath. Ah, of course. He's like, oh man, is your hand hurting? I mean, yeah. You want me to fix it? You want me to get some bandages? Like, no, idiot. I mean, like, the person I was working with. Oh my God, he's such a dummy. I'm terribly sorry about that. I'm just, You're not. You've done nothing wrong. Dr. C's own wrongdoing precipitated in the situation. You needn't concern yourself with any further. I mean, it would be a lot easier if you stopped staring at him. Lord Varzeeks is doing an admirable job of holding fort, though disturbingly, his appearance has been missing since yesterday. Oh! What's become Kasumi-sama now? Well, I just wanted to talk to you, just like little questions if we could, but give me 1 second, I'll be right back, folks, before I start the conversation. In return, let's talk about the forensics thingy. Not long ago, visitors' numbers to the Great exhibitions exceeded 30 million. Jesus, I didn't know y'all knew that many people. 1 second. I thought I was ready. His wasn't. Alright, cool. Now I'm good. Yeah, that many people? 30 million? Are there even that many people in the world? Yes. Yes. And in comparison, Mr. Naruhodo, the population of the imperial city of Tokyo is too many. Only at this point. I'll be opening the International Forensic Science Symposium in the exhibition main auditorium. This event has been 2 years in the making, 2 years of preparation and negotiations with other countries. It sounds like a tremendous, yes, achievement. Congratulations. The 20th century will see a wholesale adoption of the forensics investigation techniques. And the cooperation between policing organizations and around the globe will be essential. Which is why this landmark first symposium has to be hosted here in the great heart of the Great British Empire. Does it have to be? Like, we could have hosted it anywhere, but okay. In order that Scotland Yard can be becoming the leading investigative organization in the New World. Scotland Yard does a terrible job, but okay. If that's what you want. Like, yeah, I seriously believe Britain's that great, but I can tell you, it's not. You're every bit of passionate in your voice, in your own way, I'm sure, Mr. Naruhodo. I'm the only person in this country who truly cares about the future that embraces forensic science. And that's really sad. It is my intention to become Her Majesty's Attorney General and reform the Yard from the ground up. You have a lot of work to do because they suck at their job. They're overworked and they suck at their job. Like, I shouldn't be here doing their work for them. So, in disgrace of the forensics investigations team, has been a bitter blow to my ambitions. It wasn't your fault. You didn't know she was a murderer. I first established a forensics investigations team a year ago, experimentally to start with. With Dr. Sleeth at the helm, it was steadily accruing an impressive record of achievement. Even with the blackmailing, they were doing amazing. I was on the verge of changing its name and elevating it to the full-blown forensics and investigative, and I got forensic investigation department. And you can't do that now? Like, you just lost one person. They're still a good team. Obviously, nobody wants to hear anything about it at the moment. Okay, I get it. One bad apple. Even I can't keep this story out of the papers. 6 million Londoners will be cursing forensic science now. This incident will set back our country's advancement in the field by a good 10 years, I'd say. I mean, yeah. Unintended repercussions of our trial. I mean, we proved that people were covering up stuff. And it's gonna keep happening, but, you know, it's probably still happening, but okay. We simply couldn't have overlooked what happened, though. Listen, if he knew that he was like... I believe if he knew that she was covering something up and that we were gonna prove it, he would have made us hush. He would have silenced us and been like, listen, I'm trying to put this in the map. I'm trying to get people not to doubt this. I'll like arrest her for something else. Just don't say that, like anything but that. You know, like they do nowadays. Of course not. We should be all thankful to the both of you. Anyway, I'll still reform this country's policies when I become Attorney General. This might delay my plans, but I won't alter them. Nothing will stand in my way. Can we talk about Lord Von Zeke's apprentice and why that needed to happen? Ah, yes, that came as a surprise to me, I must say. That you and he are old friends. How did he become an apprentice to, you know, a doctor, like, depression anyway? I mean, he's not a doctor, but you get it. It came about 3 months ago. An unidentified Asian man was apprehended by the border police. They found him hiding aboard a large goods vessel. Oh my! So he stole the way to get here. So I'm guessing he hit his head and like knew he needed to come to London he needed to come to Britain for some reason. So he's like, I need to get here. I guess what had happened to him, they thought he died. But instead he didn't die. He just took a really bad fall and had amnesia. And he like was in Hong Kong and was like, I need to get to Britain. And while he's in Hong Kong, he like, I need to find a way to get to Britain, and the only way for me to get there is to stow away, I guess. So as he's doing that, he like he makes it, but then they catch him and they're like, what is he doing? He had no papers to identify him, no passport, and he was suffering from amnesia too. Other than the fact that he was clearly of Eastern descent, there was no clues to who he was. So I decided to assign him to Lord von Zeeks, that way I can keep an eye on him and progress the plot. But then, like, if you didn't recognize who he was, why the mask? I didn't want to burden Lord von Zeeks with tiresome explanation as to why he had an Eastern apprentice. I knew that I knew he was racist, so I didn't want to trouble him with the fact of his race, so I hid it from him. You could have dumped him onto anyone else, but you were like, I'm gonna dump this Eastern man on the one Londoner who hates Japanese people the most. Brilliant. And you want to be Attorney General? Because it'd be so much easier to explain why he was wearing a mask? Anyway, he was proven to be a great help to Lord von Zeeks. I had high hopes for his future. I just find it interesting that he just dumped him onto, like, the one guy he knew would hate the fact that he was Japanese if he told him the truth. Like, okay. You know, speaking of that man, by the way, I need y'all to experience bigotry with the capital B. So I had my man's pull. He's like, I need him to learn to not be racist, so I'm going to assign him the one person he hates. That's like... Sorry, I'm hungry. I'm eating. I know some people hate that, so I'll chew less. That's like... That's like if you had a law office. I don't know why that keeps happening, and by the way, I'm sorry if that... I don't know what's keep happening and why that is. It's like if you brought... I don't know, I'm just trying to think about it. I'm just trying to picture how they're like, how they thought this would make sense. And like in a regular scenario, this would make no sense. This would seem so... This would seem like such a bizarre, like, thing to do. Like, it's such a bizarre thing to just program, to just assign someone this. Like, let's say if we did, oh my god, it's like assigning a racist, like, NASCAR driver, like an assistant, or like a whole pit crew, but you all give them masks to the pit crew, and they're just like the one race that these, like, this NASCAR driver hates, and they're like, no, it's fine, it's fine. We'll learn to love each other. I just want to understand, like, this made sense to somebody was like, this right here makes sense. Anyway, no idea, but he's left London for the time being. He's not even in London anymore. I take it you also didn't know? Nah, I'm just asking you just for funsies. That the man's father was one of our country's most famous criminals, I mean. I just found out not too long ago, actually. What we learned from the trial 8 days ago was a huge shock. Finding out my friend's father was a serial killer. Ah, yes. Genshin no Tsugi. Professor's case 10 years ago, a great stir here, caused a great stir here in Britain. I would imagine so. He was killing all the rich people. They were such awful murders and unprecedented, using a ferocious dog as a murder weapon. And no one would have believed the culprit was a foreign student invited to study here by the government. I mean, that happened in our capital, so I don't see why not. So when the true identity of the killer could not be made public, then it can't be made public now. I have a feeling that's not gonna hold so long. Nobody in your country knows it was him, and neither do the citizens of London. Again, don't think that's gonna hold out for very much longer, but okay. The main motivation was to avoid aggravating relations between our two nations at the time, I understand. I don't know when this takes place. I think this is the after World War or whatever. I can assure you, there's gonna be some aggravation very soon. Because I don't know if it already happened or it's going to happen soon, but it's gonna happen. Y'all gonna be at odds for a whole different reason. Just saying. So everyone just gear up for that. Correct. However, it has been noted that there were some supporters of the professor's apparent cause. What? What supporters of a mass murderer? It's not that foreign. Trust me. There's a lot. I mean, like a lot. I mean, like a lot of people who tend to side with, like, you know, villains of a story. Why does he seem familiar? Because he was in the first game of the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. The majority of the man's victims were a blight on the aristocratic. Oh, the rich people of the day. I'm like messing up words. Somewhat ironically, their deaths actually benefited society as a whole. Or so a few thinkers in London believed anyway. Right, I see. But it was still a murder, wasn't it? Yeah. I mean, look at it this way. Killing Queen Antoinette and her husband benefits society. But it was still somewhat murder. So I don't care how you want to argue it. The people of France murdered them. Were they justified? I mean, yeah. 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 I mean, they could have just left him in jail, but they didn't have to kill him. But Okay. It seems very similar, doesn't it? The idea of the Reaper of the Valley. Okay, so we got everything we needed. I get why they're coming. I see. I see why they suspect him now. Okay. Okay, I got it. Got it. Well, now that we've answered all these questions, I think it's time to go back to see what 𝕤𝕒𝕤𝕤 thinks about the case and whatnot. So let's move. There's not really a lot of places for us to go. Why does he have his mask? I noticed that immediately. What was that? A man screaming in a most unflattering way. Do you think... Could it have been Mr. 𝕤𝕒𝕤𝕤? Oh my, I do hope not. Right, I don't do it anymore. Mon ami, mon ami. Stop this disgraceful display. Ooh. Who are these people? I think they must be clients of Mr. 𝕤𝕒𝕤𝕤's. Right, you two. You're coming with me now. Down to the clinic. No, not in prison. It's dark and damp and I don't like it. Boff, this darkness is my friend. I am not scared. Okay. Relax. But you were always scared of the dark. Shut your mouth, you idiot. I will sit quietly in the dark and plan our next daring heist. I don't know what this crying is, so I'm not going to do it. I don't like this. I don't like it. Well, we'll finish down at the yard. Now get moving. Bye then, Ginny. Have fun. Oh yeah, thanks, Iris. And thanks, you great detective. Oh, Gina makes a fine detective herself, doesn't she? Oh, Susie and Reno! Hello, Iris. We're home. Well, did you find your daddy? Yes. Yes. I have that messed up. Hold on. Yes, we arrived at the hotel just before he and his friend. Oh, well, that's great news. I hope I get to see my daddy again soon. Depression. The depressing feeling of having to tell a child that her dad's been dead for a long time now. And we knew about it and haven't told her at all. You know what? We can go see him. You may not see him physically, but you can see his grave. Ah, yes, of course. So, Iris, all that remains now is the greatest of problems known to man. Why are you a redhead? And before we concern ourselves with that, I believe some tea is in order. Don't you, my dear folks? Why are you a redhead? You don't look good as a redhead. Go back. You were better as a blonde. And I don't even like blondes. Is something wrong, Mr. 𝕤𝕤𝕤𝕤? Have I a crumb or such a, like, on my face? Um, Come along then, everyone. I brewed a lovely special blend. Time for tea. Whatever's going on here today? In the case, let us sit and drink now. For I am, in fact, expecting a guest later today. I heard redhead and turned around only to get mixed. This is so unnatural, but okay. Alright, well, hold on. Before I talk to you, there's so many things I want to talk about. Hey, look, there's a newspaper here. And a shoe. Okay. This looks like last week's edition. What's the article circled in red ink there? It's to the advertisement column. It says the Red-Headed League. The Red-Headed League? What's that? I don't know. I've never heard of it before, but is something on my face? Ooh, this has something to do with that lively hair. So I want to learn more about it. Hold on. Let me read. Red-Headed League. On account of the bequest of the late 𝕒𝕒 Hopkins of Lebanon, Pennsylvania, there is now another vacancy open which entitles a member of the League to a salary of £4 a week for purely nomical services. All redhead men who are in sound body and mind and above the age of 21 years are eligible. Apply a person on the morning of the 31st at the large park on Lime Street. Get £4 per week if you're a redhead. That doesn't seem suspicious at all, does it? Alrighty. Sir. Let's talk, shall we? Is this why you have a red head, sir? It looks as though someone circled an advertisement in this paper, Mr. Slums. Did that strike you in some way? I was thinking that maybe, just maybe, it might be related to, what you got up there. I'm mad you came, Shin, because someone was a redhead. You were so predictable. It's funny. Too bad it's not a woman. I'm sorry. To your, bright red hair. So, at last you've learned to apply my methods, Mr. Naruhodo. Sorry? In the first instance, it's quite indispensable observation. Believe me, I could have seen that hair with my eyes shut. So then, allow me to regale you with the details of my latest exploits. Regale or boast? Alright, let's talk about it. So what is the Red-Headed League which you seems to be subject to, of the advertisement you circle? You've noticed it in the paper then? Yeah, I brought it up to you. That, my dear fellow, was going to be the source of this month's rent payment. It was? How? According to this advertisement, The Red-Headed League is a distinguished institution of fellows of unspecified governance. Oh my god. In fact, the only condition for being a member is having red hair. That, you know, doesn't surprise me. But listen to what lucky redhead achieve once they join. An unconditional salary of £4 a week. £4 a week? But why? What are they paying people for? That I don't know. No details are given in the advertisement. So that didn't strike you as weird? But surely every red-headed person in the country would be flocking to join that in the case. You're right, Susie. There's no time to lose. I'll put my application in at once. So will I, just on the off chance. The trouble is they have a fixed number of members, you see. Oh, I see. So once a certain number of people have joined, no one else can. But as luck would have it, one member recently passed away. And it wasn't particularly lucky for the red-headed person in question, I feel, Mr. Holmes. So you decided to join in his place. Correct. I mean, look at me. Have you seen such a red-haired fella? I mean, you're a redhead, yes, but you look not natural. So why did it have to go so wrong? What on earth happened? A blunder, Mr. Naruhodo, though it pains me to admit it. What did you actually do to your hair, Mr. Slums? I'm glad you asked, Mr. Soto. What you see atop of my head is neither dye nor hairpiece. I changed the color of my hair overnight by the wonders of chemistry. Did you put like a paint in it? Like, what did you do? Chemistry? I was conducting some research into the method of rejuvenating spent tea leaves. And in the course of my work, I stumbled upon a potion that, when taken, turns one's hair into a flame-like red. Go on. Would you like to try it? It makes every hair on your body perfectly crimson. I think I'll pass. But Mr. Slums, is it quite safe to drink? Surely it's bad for you, wasn't it? Or isn't it? Sorry. He's truly Sherlock Holmes because he doesn't care about the consequences of his death. Of his life. Well, he'd never kill himself. But poison his body? Oh yeah, 100%. Ah, amateurs are always hampered by such fears. Oh, I should have never doubted you, Mr. Slums. You mean to say... But of course. To earn 4 pounds a week, one must be prepared to turn a blind eye to a little danger. Yeah, it's about right. He's quick to kill himself. Why? I should not know. That degree of red signals more than a little danger, surely. So anyway, Hurley left full of confidence yesterday with his new red hair. For the park on Lamb Street where the red-headed league were interviewing prospective new members. So what went wrong? The whole park was choked with red-headed float like a cloister of orange barrel. I queued for 8 hours solid before at last I reached the front. But when the panel's interviewers saw me, they immediately said, "Ah, Mr. 𝕤𝕒𝕤𝕤, are you in disguise to conduct an investigation?" I mean, if I was, thanks for outing me. So, naturally, I had no choice but to reply. Shh, don't give me away. After which I could do little else but turn and leave. Then this morning, when I looked at the mirror, irritation stirred within me. So I turned that pair into the police. Oh dear, what a disaster. For Hurley and those two redheads. Wait a minute. You turned them in because they knew who you were and they outed you? Mr. 𝕤𝕒𝕤𝕤, who were the two gentlemen that were here before? Oh, just a pair of petty criminals. Nothing of significance. Of course, they have to make a living somehow. And when the mood hits me, I'm willing to turn a blind eye to all manner of infraction. When the mood takes you? Yeah, he does not care. All manner of infractions? But when such fellows set their sights on Mr. 𝕤𝕒𝕤𝕤, well, that's when their luck runs out. Oh my, you were a target of a crime, Mr. 𝕤𝕒𝕤𝕤? But I've quickly devised a plan to entrap them and deliver them to our young detective Alan. You should have asked Grexy to come too. He would have had an arresting tea. We could have had an arresting tea party. I did send word, but no answer for us forthcoming. Man is inconsumably in the wrong place at the wrong time. There's a word for it, I'm sure. Ah, I have it. A blungular. That's the word. It's a good job he's not here to hear you say that. He's your level of petty? Honestly, I'm not that petty. I'm not so petty that, I'm going to have two people who are criminals arrested for the sake of the fact that they ruined my chances of, having money. So, I would never do something this terrible. Close to it. But never this terrible, no. I have what one would call some kind of moral background as a goddess, but I can't say how much of it I have, but I have one. I mean, tis whatever it is, but you know. I wonder what the men did. Nothing. Mr. Solmes, isn't it about time you told us the truth? Just over a week ago, you said to us... All right, that he said that they're like, great detectives always lie. What caused the case aboard the SS 𝕤𝕤𝕤 in January? Izuma wasn't killed, and you knew he wasn't dead at the time. What was really going on? The fellow was unconscious for a very long time. If he hadn't regained consciousness when he did, his life would have been in mortal peril. Of course, a side effect of the prolonged comatose state was amnesia, as you now know. It was simple enough to task to silence the crew. But how? After they carried him out the cabin, I assembled them in the lobby area. Then I made them swear to leave him unconscious and make him unlaid from the ship in Hong Kong as a murdered corpse. How horrible! It was necessary to find some material with which to persuade the crewmen to keep their word, of course. But why? Why do it in the first place? I will be at liberty to elaborate in due course. But for the time being, I would like to reassure you. I didn't foresee subsequent events. What events? This disappearance in Hong Kong. Oh. I believe I may have been made a gross error on judgment. Telephone. Aha! Here is my guest now, my latest client with money to spend. Oh, I do hope it's an exciting case, Hurley. Remember, Iris, we are at present gripped by the greatest problem known to man. I must be willing to accept any case, no matter how unstimulating, locating a runaway, of course. Don't spare anyone's feelings, will you? Oh dear, I'm afraid that Hurley can lack a little tact, especially just before the rent is due. Oh! Mr. Solmes, Mr. Herlock Solmes, please, oh please! Please find my husband, he's run away! You're a jerk. To upset me. I beg your pardon. Never mind, a personal matter. My apologies. What exactly are you trying to say, Mr. Naruhodo? I didn't say a word. Come, my dear madam. Be seated. Iris, some tea, if you please. Oh, of course. What's the matter, Mrs. Heisoto? Oh, it's just that gentlewoman. I feel sure I've seen her somewhere before. Very recently. Yes, now you've come to mention it. As I explained earlier, my name is Evie Vigil? Evie Vigil. 𝕒𝕒𝕒𝕒. Okay. I'm trying to see what it would be what pun is it is. I don't know. I implore you to take the case, sir. Money is no object. Simply name your figure. Money and wealth are a little consequence to me, madam. That's a lie. Being offered a case to solve is reward enough. Oh, Mr. Slums, you're a picture of benevolence. He's lying, but I will, of course, make a mental note of your offer, however, for a continuing nuisance. I trust you remember your words also. If I might inquire, sir. The gentleman and lady would be... Oh, me? What I'm about to tell you, I'd like to communicate in the strictest confidence you understand. These are my friends. I assure you, you may say before this pair anything which you must say to me. I see. I can vouch for the gentleman personally, after all. He's hard of hearing. Why did I ever get my hopes up? Why are we talking to her? But okay. Forgive me for asking, Miss 𝕒𝕒𝕒, but have we met somewhere before? Quite recently, perhaps. Oh my! Shh, my dear fellow, what is your intention? Clearly you have no ability to differentiate the facial features of the English. If you wish to invite the lady to tea, you must do so in a more gentle fashion. Is it possible that you're the nice young lawyer from the trial I attended last week? I knew I recognized her. It was like 8 days ago. It's hard to forget a face in that short of a time period. For me, at least. I didn't recognize her because she's acting so differently now. Must be very difficult for you as a lawyer, being hard of hearing, I mean. Just side-eyeing. Pardon? Oh dear, I'm so sorry. Don't worry if you can't hear. It was very flippery, really, nothing more. Now look what you started. I believe it would be prudent for you to sit quietly in the corner. Yes. Alright, so what happened to your husband? Tell us about your husband, madam. Oh, Mr. 𝕒𝕒𝕒, my daily, and is 40 years of age. I have a photograph here. That's 40? If that's 40, I certainly would love to know how humans be aging somehow. An entirely unremarkable gentleman by appearance, at least. How long have you been married? It'll be 15 years this year. I have a cordial relationship and my husband's income is more than adequate, so we live quite comfortably. And as it would appear, it would only need to look at you to know these things. Oh gosh! Your dress is the latest style, your hat is clearly regularly groomed, and your eyes are animated. In short, you have no inkling as to why your husband might have disappeared, correct? That's right. He's a kind man with a strong sense of loyalty, and he rather dotes on me. Oh, I love a man who dotes on his wife. So cute. I don't know. Something about like men who just like absolutely adore their wives has always like been the favorable for me. 1 second. I apologize, I keep taking so many mini breaks. There's just a lot happening around me at once. It's mostly Oliver. He keeps moving around a lot, so I have to like readjust myself. Which would point to the possibility that he has become embroiled in some accident or other. Yeah, because like if he treats you well, then clearly you didn't kill him. And like it's like even if he given you a comfortable life and you seem happy, so you didn't kill him. At least that's what I was thinking, because you know that's how usually it goes. Oh, is that exactly? And that's exactly what I fear have happened, Mr. Slums. I'm quite beside myself. Clearly. My husband's employment is somewhat unusual, you see. Is he a garbage man? What if he's incurred some miscreant's ill will? What exactly is your husband's line of work? He's a warder at a prison. Oh, well, I figured he was something that had to do with, like, law, because sometimes some lawmakers make a lot of, well, some police force at this time make a lot of money. Because it's seen as still as, like, a respectable job. A guard? That's somewhat unusual? So your husband's a prison warder? That's right, yes. Well, in actual fact, he's a chief warder. Oh, he makes a lot of money. Indeed, I see. Well, chief warder certainly qualifies. It's something as a special occupation. Yes, it does indeed. My poor husband must be prepared those dreadful punishments you see as they are carried out. He looks so nice too, like he looks like such a nice guy. But I can't picture that he does that he watches over like criminals and whatnot. I just can't picture that. Dreadful punishments? Does she mean capital punishment? And at such times, he must occasionally spend a night or two in the prison dormitory. But for extra responsibility, he is remunerated more handsomely than the other warders. Oh, so he's the one who, like, gives them punishment. He's paid very well for doing such horrible things to these people. Makes sense. Of course, we had no intention... We make no mention of my husband's work to the neighbors. Do they just think he's a rich guy? Yes, I believe your prudence is justified. What? Cause what? He sees that criminals get punished thoroughly? Or is it because you're worried that people are gonna like beat him up for what he does? Tell me, at what prison is your husband engaged? Barclay Prison, Mr. Slums. Really? Barclay? Oh, a fine establishment. If I'm not mistaken, there's a large cemetery just behind it. Yes, that's correct. Low Gate Cemetery. It's all coming together. It's all coming together. No. Unbelievable, my dear fellow. And yet undeniable. Sorry, Mr. Slumps, I'm afraid you've lost me. Ah. Pay no heed, madam. Pay no heed. A private matter. This really can't be a coincidence, can it? The way that Mr. Sloan's face is, he's like, no, it's not. Alright, let's talk about your husband's disappearance. So, to the matter of your husband's disappearance, when did you realize that he was missing? Please try not to laugh. It was yesterday. I'm sorry, yesterday? It's really recent, laughably so. Truth is, my husband does it at times have occasion to spend the night away for his work. It's not at all of the ordinary for him not to return home at night, but this is different. For him not to make any contact for a whole day, that has certainly never happened before. Oh, my dear Daily, whatever can have happened? My dear Miss Regal, please calm yourself. Now and then have you been contacted by the police? Why, naturally, but sadly, they refuse to listen to my pleas of my husband has only been missing for 1 day. I've asked to wait patiently at home. In truth, Miss Regal, I concur with the police. However, let us not be hasty. I see no reason why you should not engage my detection powers to track your husband down anyway. Oh, thank you, Mr. Slums. And furthermore, let me assure you, the chance to solve this great problem known to man in another month has no bearing on my decision. I seek only to put a smile on another Londoner's face. That's really all there is to it. Oh, you have my eternal gratitude. I shall pay any sum you care to mention. You seek only to put the suit's rent in your landlady's purse. Thank you for everything you've shared with us, Miss Regal. I believe I have all the information I need to begin my investigation. Oh, please report to me soon with good news, sir. Fear not, madam. In a day or two, I shall be contacting you with a heartening report, I'm quite sure. So soon! Oh, how splendid, Mr. Slums. Good news shall be delivered early, I always say. If you would be so kind to leave your photograph on your husband in my possession. Thank you. Now, allow me to show you the door. I can't thank you enough, Mr. Slums. You have been simply marvelous. You know, I think it every time, Hurley. But how do you come with such nonsense? Good news in a day or two? Are you sure? I can't be sure, of course. But then I didn't swear on it. I merely gave the woman some hope. I hope that I'll be able to give her some good news, one might say. After all, the rent must be paid by the end of the day tomorrow. If by that time I successfully located Mr. Regal, we shall be mutually relieved. Wouldn't you agree, Mr. Naruhodo? Don't look at me with those pleading eyes. Well, my dear fellow, did you hear the details of the case? Yeah, my hearing is surprisingly good, actually. Excellent. And what did you make of it? Well, I was surprised to learn where her husband worked. At Barclay Prison, I mean. Well, you noted that. Of course, especially with the mention of Lowgate Cemetery. Barclay Prison is where the notorious man was incinerated. The professor. And now a wardener of the prison has mysteriously disappeared, it would seem. And it's all very peculiar. Indeed. But nothing you can't handle. I'm quite certain, Mr. Naruhodo. I'm sorry? Run along to the prison to see what you can glean. Would you? And the prison governor you want. No doubt the man is equally worried. But aren't you going to go yourself? Surely you needn't ask. I can't possibly be seen with his hair. Wear a hat. But didn't you go to Lime Street with that hair? That was quite different matter. So I leave it into your capable hands. Now, if you excuse me, I'm rather busy. What? Great, it's my job to do his dirty work. Love it here. Alright, so we're off to the prison. Barclay Prison is the outskirts of London, backing into a lonely burial ground. It has 4 outer walls loomed quietly before us in the fog. Having requested a meeting, we were shown to the governor's office in the watchtower. New location! Oh! That's not ominous at all. That's not scary or preluding. Oh, no. This place is full of hardened criminals. How can I remember the last time I seen a civilian who was doomed here? And you, 𝕤𝕤, want to talk to an inmate but to me? Oh my god. You know, who I am? I'm the Governor Barry Caden now. I can't figure out his voice. Yeah, it's a pleasure. I'm 𝕤𝕠𝕔𝕚𝕒, defense lawyer. An Easterner, I see. Does that mean? Yes, I am a visiting student of law from the Empire of Japan. Japan? Did ye say Japan? Yeah? Well, there's no any of your kind in here, laddie. Oh, is he Irish? Maybe you should try the prison next door, eh? I didn't notice any prison next door, sir. Anyway, we came to ask you some questions about... I didn't like to be so direct, but I have no intention of speaking with the likes of you suspicious-looking Easterners. More racism! I just love when we run into racism all the time. Alrighty. Now get out of my hair. Okay. I think it's because of the professor's case. You think so too? Okay, well... we're gonna need help. I don't know who we could talk to, but like... how are we supposed to, like, get him to talk to us then? I might have known. You're sniffling around about this case, aren't you? You agent, part of the professor's great web, no doubt. No, not at all. We're just... get gone with you before I punch you lights. Oops. I can't figure out what his accent is. Alright, we're leaving. So we're just gonna keep experiencing racism in all forms. That's cool. Oh, Governor Caden, what are you thinking, Mrs. Sato? I feel sure that name came up in conversation recently somewhere. I was wondering who ever mentioned him would have some ideas to help us. Her dad said it, but I don't even know how we're supposed to convince... Okay, I guess we're gonna go see his dad again. Oh, hey! Papa! Oh, hello, you two! I was just taking a moment to catch up on the world now that I'm unpacked. Well, where's Judge Jukuku? Yes, he's not the relaxing sort. He's taken himself off to pay his respects to all legal dignity. Having only just arrived in the country today, goodness, he's full of energy. Professor, you mentioned something before about how you'd known the prison governor at 𝕤𝕠𝕔𝕚𝕒 prison. Oh, Governor Caden, you mean? Oh, it's the same man. Father, we must speak with the governor. But he refuses to talk to us, as he said that we're suspicious Easterners. Well, I'm sure he's accompanied. If I accompany you, it would be a very different story. Oh, would you? That would be great. You can come with us. Come talk to him. Help us out. It'd be great. That'd be wonderful if you have time now. Sadly, as you can see, I'm very busy at the moment. Bro, you're just reading a newspaper. Did you drink coffee on a comfortable set? Not now. I have rather a lot of preparing for tomorrow. You know. He's definitely preparing for tomorrow by just drinking tea. But alrighty. You 𝕒𝕒𝕚𝕤s are alarmingly good at reading people's thoughts. Or could it be that 𝕤𝕤𝕤𝕤 are alarmingly bad at hiding your thoughts? Let's not fall out now. I have an idea. What's he writing on a piece of paper? Here's a letter to introduce you. Hopefully, when he sees my name, he changes his tune. This little paper that you probably wrote on like a napkin. But alright. Man said, I'll give you this piece of paper with my signature. Hopefully that helps. Like, sir, you can walk away for a few seconds. But alright, I guess we're gonna go take this napkin paper and see if that leads us anywhere. Back to the office to get racially profiled. If you just cast your eyes over this, Governor Caden. What's this then? You can now pull the wool over my eyes, you good-for-nothing Japanese student. 𝕤𝕠𝕚𝕤𝕤. That young jock from the forensics laboratory? My guy big is for no reason. Truly. That 𝕤𝕠𝕚𝕤? Yes, exactly, him. Oh dear, perhaps I should have said something sooner. I'm Eugen's 𝕤𝕠𝕚𝕤's daughter, Seisoto. Jin's? You're the young man's daughter? And you didn't think to mention that afore? I do apologize. Aye, well, you'd best take a seat then. Can I offer you a cup of tea, perhaps? I didn't forget to try one of these wee handcuff biscuits. No such shot they sent it AF. I mean, I can't tell if he's... I think he's Irish? But I'm terrible at doing Irish accents. So I can't do it. Your father's influence is nothing short of amazing. I'm bitterly regretting not announcing who I was from the outset now. How were you supposed to know he knew who your father was? So then, what can I do for you, Hen? Well, we're certainly investigating a case. It's one of the warders, you see. He's gone missing. Missing? That's right. It's surely been reported to you as well. Being the prison governor. I hadn't heard nothing of the sort. There's no missing persons in my prison. I'm sorry. He didn't work here? But how can that be? Mr. Daily Beagle, your chief warder? Beagle. That's right. His wife came to us and asked us to investigate his disappearance. Would you be so kind to tell us what you know, sir? Aye, of course. So this is turning out to be one interesting case of events. I don't understand how you have an employee, but you're not aware that the employee has disappeared. Like, I notice immediately when someone isn't at my shop. And to speak of it, right? When it comes to the person that's missing, he doesn't even look 40 to me. This man looks so young. He looks like he's like 27. And they say that there's no distinguishing marks about him. His hair is weird. I mean, where you work versus where I work are two different places. So you work in a big like establishment, while I work in a very like tight-knit group. Like I would notice when if one of my coworkers was missing, I would notice within a week that they weren't there, because I wouldn't see sense of them. I wouldn't. Most of my coworkers are like, because we work in such a small group, we tend to like have like habits in which we like leave things, or we make marks or somewhere or whatnot, even if it's as small as like the music that we put on. If I don't see it in the recent playlist of someone playing it, I can know that somebody is probably not there or hasn't been present for a minute. So I'm wondering how come. I know that back then it's kind of seen as like you can't really report someone missing right now. I know that's how it is in America at this time period, where you don't really report someone missing. Like there was like this like outrageous law where you couldn't determine someone was missing for a minute, but I don't know how it's here in this time period if someone being missing. And it was just yesterday, so she could wait, but they think she's freaking out and that she's like being a little bit, how do I say this? Like she's jumping the gun, right? Yeah, that's how you say that. And in a sense, she could be jumping the gun, but she feels differently. And you know how these cases go. There's a good chance he's missing or he's murdered. And I want to say he's likely murdered. He's likely dead. But I'm wondering, how does this all tie into this specific, like this is tying into like the Hound case, whatever, because this is still talking, we're still talking about the professor and his effects, and we're still talking about this prison, so clearly this is going to tie into that. That is something that I am worrying about. But when it came to the other case, right, I do think it's interesting that that it ended that way, with like Dr. Drebber, well, yeah, Mr. Drebber just being like, he wanted revenge so bad that he didn't realize that he was doing the exact same thing that was done to him, which is kind of like, in a way, hilarious, but not like haha hilarious. It's just like it's kind of ironic how he didn't realize that. Like the whole time he's like a super genius, but doesn't realize that he himself is causing an issue. I do like that we at least addressed that people do have racism in this point in the game, like in this area of the world, and that the way they go about it is very realistic, in which like everyone is like suspicious of them. But it's weird that they're doing that based on like one criminal. I do want to know why he just decided to start killing the rich. in what he was aiming for, because it seems kind of weird to me that somebody who raised Kisuma, who's like such a like righteous person, who remembers his dad a bit, why he decided to just become a serial killer. And especially like his colleagues remember him being so esteemed. But that doesn't sound that off, because that's usually how other people describe other serial killers. They're just like, oh, he was so great and he was so kind and so wonderful. I didn't suspect anything. So it is what it is. But that's where we're gonna wrap it up here today. And when we get back, we're gonna talk to him about his missing employee, and then some other of that jazz, and see where this case leads us. Finally done with episode 3. On to episode 4. Oh, I'm so excited to see where this case is gonna drive me. But thank you guys for joining me for stream, and I hope that you have a wonderful night and that I will see you on Friday. Good night, everybody.